So the next part is actually throwing the clay. Notice we're now looking at my wheel. I've got my little sponge right here. I've put a couple of clay balls off to the side on the wheel head, and then we have the bucket up with my water. Now I'm going to start by throwing by fixing my bat to the wheel head. If you notice, there's a couple of screws on top. I'm going to pull my chair in. Go ahead and place my bat on the wheel, and this is just so you can remove your work easily once you start throwing, because you really do want to have the ability to move your work before you start to trim it up. So I have my pedal over here to the right, put it at a comfortable distance. I'm going to take the clay, usually I smack it down, firm it onto the wheel head, turn my wheel on, move my bucket a little bit closer. I'm going to moisten my sponge. I'm going to begin to start by moving the wheel. Now, we don't want it super fast at first. We want to see if we can get some control. We're going to start centering the clay, and this is usually the hardest part for any new student, is being able to center the clay. So I'm going to wet my clay a little bit. Maybe even get my foot a little more comfortable on the pedal. And I'm going to have my hands right on the clay. So the idea here is to evenly squeeze the clay in using my upper body strength. And this is usually the hard part, is coordinating that. At the same time that I'm squeezing in, I'm pushing down with my thumbs. So notice I'm pressing down. You're not going to hurt anything using excessive force. It's getting a little dry. Put a little more water on there. Pressing. I even have one thumb on top of the other to push down as I'm cupping in. And the more you do this, the easier it is. Usually beginning students have a hard time centering. Now, notice this is starting to look a little bit like a plate. I'm going to try and use the inside to start squeezing, pulling the clay in. A little more water. Start gathering it up from the bottom, but also squeezing in as I come up. Pressing down on the top. See how that works? Again, squeezing from the bottom using my pinkies. Drawing in evenly with both hands. This does take practice. Drawing up, and then pressing down. So how do I know that I'm centering this right? Well, we don't see a wobble. If it was kind of moving this way and that way, then we know we have to do more centering. A little more water. So I'm going to push this down a little bit. I'm going to think about making a bowl. So I'm going to take my finger here, make like a little hole. I'm going to take 2 fingers inside the hole and go all the way down. Not all the way to the bottom though. Not to the bat. See, you can already see a little bit of a wobble there. I'm going to start drawing this open towards me. The wheel is not going very fast. Press down. Maybe even use my sponge to kind of help press open. And then maybe move the sponge slowly towards the center. And then draw back again. Notice you can see a little bit of a wobble, but as I work with this, I can unwobble it. The steadier my hands are, the less wobbling there's going to be. Now I'm going to kind of press together and begin to draw the walls up, squeezing from both sides. And then maybe press down on the lid. One of the things about pottery is that I can say all these things, but only you can figure out how this works. This is hand and eye coordination, and through practice, your hands begin to figure out how much to press, how much to pull, how much to squeeze. And it's kind of frustrating at first, noting I'm pressing down on the bottom. I've been pulling this up, almost like a jar. Now, if I wanted to make this a little more open, I'm gonna run some water down both sides. And then just gently, gently, with the wheel going fairly slow, begin to pull out at an angle. Look at how nice that is, how easy that is. Just think about having something in this sitting on your dining room table, all glazed and decorated. Maybe pull it out a little bit more. I like to always go back and finish the bottom and finish the rim. Clean up along the bottom. So that's a good start.